Hello, and welcome back to this episode of Around the World, the CRC program. We're excited for this week as we show you, we'll take you to a place, maybe on a little journey here with Jesus to Chicago. I don't know if you had that deep dish pizza, or I don't know if you know of a little player by the name of, Mikey, number 23, Chicago Bulls, best basketball player of all time. Yeah, we went and paid homage to his statue, and on the way there, we also had a chance to work with God and to see something extraordinary that he did right there in the heart of that city. Beautiful churches over there are serving, and one church that we were serving with is St. Paul's Church, which is a mission church right in the heart of Chicago there. And I don't even know how to set up this clip for you, but I'll just tell you, I'll do what I can, okay? The concept here, we were doing a weekend of, training and mission and whatever, and we were just at the point of a talk about limitless acceptance and how we as a church have to accept people no matter what their background is. Cool? Pretty nice topic. Makes sense to have it as a conversation, but God has some other plans to make it live instead of making it a lecture. I want to introduce you to our friend who's going to be in this clip. His name is Stan. He'll tell you a little bit about his life, and then I'll tell you some background stuff about how we met him and what difference God made in his life over that weekend. Check it out, his clip here.
Why? Why should I forget it? Why should I forget it? So you tell me there's a reason that the man upstairs took my dad away from me? Come on. Am I being unfair? Am I being unfair? What do you want me to do? You want me to go down there, sit down and have a piece of pizza and forget about everything? What, you think I'm going to wake up tomorrow morning? What? I'm being unfair? You guys look at me like I'm an idiot. I'm not. I look a little responsible, yeah. Thank you, J1.
Can I just tell you one small thing?
Yeah, sure thing, little lady.
My father died when I was a kid, just like you. And then I kept, for so many years, I kept asking God, and I kept telling God, you owe me an apology, and you owe me an explanation for that. But you know what happened with me? Deep inside me, I knew that He loved me, and I knew that He had an explanation for it. I knew that it was, I lived how it was so hard. But then, at one point of time, when I was grown up, I just realized that probably that was the best plan for my life. I didn't know, I kept thinking, okay, so you took it from us to teach us this or that, but you could have teach us this in any other way. Why did you choose the hard one? But I think what I'm trying just to say is that I just passed through everything you're saying, every single moment you're saying, but the only thing is that I went back to Him and I asked Him, why did you do that? I need you to tell me, because I cannot get over it.
Well,
And He did it. He did it. He told me why He did it. Maybe it was not on the spot. It needed my lifetime. He died when I was a kid, but then it happened long time after. And I think the only key is that impatience. When you wait on God, He's going to respond. But the thing is that sometimes we rush into the answer. I don't know if He wants to answer you now or maybe That's my story.
That's pretty good. Well, I'll tell you straight back. My last friend, can you guys hear me? My last friend, which is kind of weird. The whole life psychic thing, like you said. My last friend went to see somebody to see, I don't believe in this stuff. And the psychic said she was going to die within a month. Which is like, it's a real story. This happened back in 1988. She said she was going to die within a month or so. So she's like, oh, shoot. So you know what she did? She decided not to leave the house. So she was sitting inside the house the whole time. The whole time. She was laying back. Just get up, eat, make tea, go back to bed, watch TV. You know what happened? One of the murals that she had on top fell on top of her head and killed her inside her body. So you're right. God has a plan for everybody. And I didn't believe it until I met this guy and this guy. Because I thought that I was Superman and I could do everything. Like today, I woke up in the morning and I was like, I could do anything. But then, I thought about these two guys and I'm like, I can't. Like my body was shutting down. I couldn't breathe, I couldn't walk, I couldn't do anything. Until I called him. I called Eddie and I asked for help.
Okay, so what? So you saw that. I mean, it's maybe hard to see because we didn't plan to record that and we didn't plan to capture that moment of his life. But the insane thing is that Friday when we met Stan, 29-year-old regular guy that you look like you just want to hang out with, how he was planning to kill himself that Monday. That was going to be it. There was going to be no Tuesday for Stan. In the middle of his prayer, when he was praying with us on Friday, he prayed those exact words. He said, God, you know that I had plans to end it all. And we now know because of his clip of the heartache with his father dying, and that drove him to alcoholism and all this kind of stuff. But the crazy thing is, God literally saved this man's life. He wasn't going to be there on Tuesday, but because of the faithfulness of that church, and not in a way that they can foresee. I mean, they didn't go somewhere out of the ordinary. They went to the local train station, just saw him there, had a conversation with him, sparked up a conversation with some of the younger servants even of the team. And through that conversation, his life was spared. And more than his life, the follow-up maybe story to him is that very night, after he began to share with us his struggles in that meeting, he went to a rehab center that very night. After first initially being a little bit hesitant and stuff like that, for his alcoholism, he went to rehab that night. The next day, the church went and visited him. Like, they brought him to the hospital. Then they went, visited him in the hospital, sat with him, talked to him, day in and day out. He asked for a priest to confess. He wanted to just get things off his chest. And he told the team of servants in the church, I want to be a part of your church, but not just a part of your church. I don't want to be in the pews. I want to serve with you. I want to be part of the core group. That was Sunday night versus Friday night. Like, the difference is mind-blowing. It's something only God could have done. Doesn't make sense otherwise. And for Stan to have that kind of recovery, to go from that to this, maybe gives us a little bit of insight on limitless acceptance. On that principle, if there's one thing that we can take from his story, from Chicago. I mean, even though they did lots of stuff, they did surveys with the poor, they spoke with people in their local park, they did so much mission. But God imprinted this lesson of limitless acceptance of someone who walked in struggling with alcoholism, struggling with suicide, struggling with suicidal thoughts, all these things. But the church was his mommy. She was the person that he can come to and just cry in her bosom, just come and be accepted and be loved. And you and I yearn for that. The church fathers teach us that no one can have God as a father if you don't have God as a mother. God as a father if you don't have the church as a mother. And the church for us needs to be this mother. And a mother, like you know your mom, a Middle Eastern mom, will always tell you you're the greatest, Habibi, into the best. We sometimes have to show that for people as well who are not of our same culture, our same descent. And if we're honest, if we're real, I've had a chance to speak with a lot of people who are not of our culture, and sometimes they don't get that from our church. And we, the youth, are the difference. We can make that difference. You notice someone coming into your church who is a different skin color, or a different gender, or height, or whatever. You have the opportunity to say, open arms. Here's your mom. We, the church, are your mom, and you're welcome home. Welcome home no matter what you're struggling with, and God will take you through what you're struggling with. God will be your healer. St. John Chrysostom tells us that the church is always built to be the hospital for sinners, not the palace of the righteous. Right? So for this episode, I hope Stan's story can both inspire you to have limitless acceptance and convict you to be able to have that as much as we can. Till next time, we'll see you in Around the World.